this Christmas.
You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it.
Coming to your television. And every cinema near you. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Whoa, hold up, stop. Have you ever noticed that Christmas is supposed to be merry, but Christmas movies are actually a joke?
Can I get an amen?
They invade every single TV channel with their sappy and moralistic cliches, telling you life is wonderful.
Let's put Christ back into Christmas.
As a doctor, it is my calling to save you from this sickening, cash-grabbing movies. I give you the best medicine there is, laughter. This is my top
1, 2, 3, 4, 5
funny Christmas movies. Number 5. Scrooged. Absurdist comedy takes it to the extreme. So extreme that not everybody will like it or laugh at it. The absurd is everything ridiculous, against all logic and extremely over the top. Think of Rick and Morty, Monty Python, The Blues Brothers, Wayne's World, South Park, or The Hangover. That is why Scrooged from 1988 is a film that you either love or hate. Something that's reflected in review scores. It has a 7 on IMDb, but only a 3.8 on Metascore. Well, I'm a fan of absurd humor paired with Bill Murray, and I'm completely sold. Scrooged is a modern retelling of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Bill Murray plays Frank Xavier Cross, the cynical, selfish TV executive. He is visited by a succession of ghosts to help him regain his Christmas spirit. There are a lot of other versions of this story. There's one with Muppets, there is a Disney version, there's one CGI with the voice of Jim Carrey, and a lot more. One great example how crazy this movie is the rendition of the Christmas ghosts. In other movies, they generally are wise spirits. In this movie though,
You see, I'm the ghost.
Oh, look. There's Mr. Hedgehog. I wonder where he's going. Perhaps to Harlem!
May I?
the reason why this movie is so funny, it's because we know most of its story. It's like reinventing Snow White or Romeo and Juliet in an absurd way. Especially because we already have knowledge from the story, the writers of this movie could take many liberties. We have certain expectations, which they obviously play with and make the absurd even stand out more. When I was rewatching this movie, I was also reminded of the existence of Bobcat Goldthwait. Oh my god, I totally forgot about this actor. Back in the 80s, he was famous for his screaming! And it's actually a really weird way he's talking.
Nice fight! Get out of my way! My mother's name is Jughead!
I mean, he goes through a lot of shit, from being fired and getting bullied by Frank Cross, the Bill Murray character. I really felt for this character.
You stinky! Yeah, you big dog! You! Honey, I'm home!
It's a great fit for absurd acting in an absurd movie.
This holiday season, see Bill Murray get Scrooged.
Number 4. Merry Christmas, Mr. Bean. Well, surprise! One of the funniest Christmas movies isn't really a movie. It's episode number 7 of the series of Mr. Bean in 1992. Played by the magnificent Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean is one of the most funny characters ever to appear on TV. He seems to be the culmination of so many different comedic mechanisms. It's no wonder everybody loves him. In this episode, he starts with his Christmas shoppings in Harrods. We would expect anyone to be Christmas shopping at Harrods to be loaded with great bags full of presents and goodies. But he sets his sights on one golden bauble and a bunch of Christmas lights. In his childlike way, he completely gets distracted by the Christmas scene in the shopping window. He starts playing with Mary and baby Jesus, and soon enough, other creatures are entering the scene. A truck full of sheep, a T-Rex, and a bunch of toy soldiers are marching to a familiar tune. It is in fact the theme song of Blackadder Goes Forth that he is humming in the background. When the store manager interrupts his play by introducing a toy policeman to the scene, he leaves the store embarrassed. He manages to express all of this completely without any words. And most of all, it's in a very physical and slapstick way. His face and his posture is all he needs. I think that's why maybe this episode was aired in like over 200 countries. We don't actually need language to understand him. He plays with our expectations constantly. He's using situations and scenes that are completely relatable to us. And he encounters a lot of problems that people do too. Like where to find a Christmas tree, or even to how to fit it in your home. Except he always finds very out-of-the-box solutions. That's one thing we love about Mr. Bean. Even though he's a complete embarrassment and fails miserably, he always finds a way to deal with it. Often the solution doesn't work in the real world, or they wouldn't work for us as a viewer. But on the other hand, he is always proud with what he came up with. Well, and that makes it extra funny. One of the most famous scenes is of course the scene with the turkey on his head. It even inspired a Friends episode, the one with all the Thanksgivings.
Oh my God!
I know! It's stuck!
He actually wanted to perform this scene with a real turkey, but with the risk of salmonella, a rubber version was used instead. It's horribly bloody and bony inside, he told People magazine. You don't want that next to your earlobes. So we used the fake turkey. It was just as heavy, but not as smelly. Well, after inadvertently disappointing his girlfriend, he ends up spending his evening happily alone at home with his teddy.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Bean.
Number 3. Gremlins. Although the setting of this movie is very classic Christmassy, it's pretty obvious that things are a bit different this time around. We notice for the main character that things fall apart slightly around him.
It's a nice home. A nice job.
And then he gets a very special gift. A pet that is pretty easy to take care of if you just stick to its only 3 rules.
If you expose it to the light, you may hurt it. If you get it wet, it will multiply.
All that from water? They got wet?
Yeah, plain water.
And most important, no matter how much they beg, never, never let them eat after midnight. Because when they do, they change.
Oh, of course he's going to mess up that too. It's the classical comedy move of disaster. It's funny because everything goes wrong. What makes this even more funny is that it takes the Christmas context to be seen over and over again and injects something completely new into it. Strange troll-like creatures that will stop at nothing with their mischief. And it even makes you wonder if the broken washing machine in your basement was also sabotaged by the Gremlins?
Hey, I bet that was a... Say, do you think that... Hey, could that have been a... Gremlin?
The context trick is something that is done over and over again in movies and series and sketches. Take something ordinary like Christmas, inject some foreign object like a gremlin, and voila, there's a basis for a lot of fun. It is no wonder that the original creator of the Gremlins is famous writer Roald Dahl. That guy often made his stories more whimsical in this way. Take an ordinary life and add something magical, mostly a creature, and it becomes something else. Another reason this movie is just so damn funny is the amazing attention to detail. You can easily rewatch it a couple of times and discover new and funny details, especially if you look not at the main subject in the picture, but behind it or next to it. You will discover many little jokes. For instance, as the evil Mrs. Deagle gets catapulted from a stairlift chair, there is a painting of a man on the wall that is quietly gloating at her misfortune. Or the moment when the gremlin disconnects Billy's phone call to his mom while gnarling "phone home" and mocking E.T. into the process. To top it off, gremlins aren't just mere pets, not just mischievous. Also super smart and can read and talk. Man, they even can sing Christmas carols. Before I continue my list, I would like you to share your favorite funny Christmas movies in the section below. Let's find out if we share the same taste, or we discover some new recommendations together. Number 2. Home Alone. It's about a boy who is accidentally left behind while his family is flying to France for a Christmas vacation. He actually likes being alone at home, but will soon meet the two antagonists, Harry and Marv, and has to stop them from robbing his house. Harry is played by Joe Pesci, and he is swearing in this movie, but only this is a kids movie. Want to know more about swearing in movies? Check the link over there.
Be a good little fella now and open the door.
What? What?
While some people may not appreciate this old-time Christmas classic, I think it's filled with funny moments. It's a brilliant example of well-performed slapstick comedy. Slapstick is an over-the-top physical type of comedy where people keep hurting themselves or others and getting into awkward situations. Think of the legendary Laurel and Hardy, Leslie Nielsen, Jim Carrey, and Kramer on Seinfeld. In Home Alone, the victims of the slapstick comedy are of course the two burglars who try to break into the home. Laughing at their pain and misfortune is of course easy for us, because they are portrayed as the bad guys. We don't feel sorry for them at all. Even more so because they are attacking a child who is home alone. This is a free pass to the writers of the movies to subject these two guys from every catastrophe you can think of. And it also gives Kevin a free pass to do everything he wants to do with them. Think about it. If the roles were reversed, we wouldn't be so accepting and probably wouldn't be funny at all. What makes Home Alone even better is the incredible build-up. With every obstacle or trap Kevin lays out, we're already envisioning what will happen to the thieves later. After building all of this up for most of the movie, the payoff is just too damn good. Number 1. Trading Places. It's about an upper-class commodities broker and a homeless street hustler switching lives.
I had the most absurd nightmare. I was poor and no one liked me.
I know what you're thinking. You see Porgy and Bess? We can make it, baby! Me and you!
If you haven't noticed yet, I'm a huge fan of Eddie Murphy. In most of his early movies, another actor would probably ruin the whole thing. Now, Eddie is amazing at acting funny, and some of the roles were written for him. Of course, he is a comedian at first, and that gives him a head start to other actors. In Trading Places, the funniest thing is really his acting. Eddie seems especially good at playing the comedic fish out of water role. Take a specific person out of his context and put him in something totally different. Somewhere where he doesn't fit in. It's applied in a lot of movies. Hot Fuzz, or Tom Hanks in Big, Blazing Saddles, or even Thor landing on Earth. Eddie almost seems typecasted for these roles. If you look at his other success movies, well, in Coming to America, he's a prince from Africa coming to the hood in Queens. Beverly Hills Cop, he's a Detroit street cop going to the nice and wealthy place of Beverly Hills. Movie trivia, did you know that originally cast for Beverly Hills Cop was not Eddie Murphy, but Sylvester Stallone? As you can see, the fish out of water comedy mostly puts a character in terribly awkward situations. Something we can't help but laugh at.
Jacuzzis, huh?
You see, man, I knew y'all was faggots, man. You ain't jacuzzi nobody. Say, man, when I was growing up, we want jacuzzi. We had to fart in the tub.
So, in this film, there are two people out of their natural habitat. It's a well-done switcheroo. It's based on a well-known novel by Mark Twain, The Prince and the Pauper. The one being Eddie Murphy, the other Dan Aykroyd, and he's playing a very believable, arrogant stock market dude, transformed to the edge of reason with his whole world collapsing. You really feel for this guy, even though he is a cocky asshole. Man, that guy even tries to kill himself. When he just lost everything, he's standing outside in the rain. A sad-looking dog comes by, lifts his leg and urinates on him. He's getting a gun from his pocket that he just pawned for his expensive watch. When he pulls the trigger, it doesn't even work. When he tosses it, it goes off. It can't get any worse. It almost felt like a disastrous cartoon. Also, this is one of the first movies I saw with a fourth wall joke in it.
Commodities are agricultural products, like coffee that you had for breakfast, wheat, which is used to make bread, pork bellies, which is used to make bacon, which you might find in a bacon and lettuce and tomato sandwich.
What is fourth wall? Well, for a while, it was a very unpopular mechanism in movies and was only used in series or sketch shows.
Time out. Whoa. Wait a minute, would I talk to his father?
But recently it's been revived by the Deadpool movies. It snaps you out of the movie for a second with a laugh. Normally you're just looking at the movie, but a fourth wall joke kind of feels like they're letting you participate, like letting you in on a secret by clearly speaking directly at you. This movie is packed with jokes. It makes me laugh from beginning to end. And except the characters of Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy, the side characters, the supporting characters are brilliant. Even the small characters, like with 5 seconds of screen time, are brilliant in it.
I bet you thought I'd forgotten your Christmas bonus. There you are.
$5. Maybe I'll go to the movies by myself.
Half of it is from me.
Thank you, Mr. Mortimer.
I mean, the supporting characters are Jamie Lee Curtis, Denholm Elliott. The characters in this movie are so well written, like the character of Clarence Beeks.
Hold on.
Fuck off.
Well, and if movies can make me laugh from beginning till the end, it's very rare nowadays for me. All this together makes for an amazingly funny movie. That's why this is my #1 recommendation for this Christmas. Which of these 5 movies do you find the funniest? Please leave your vote in the poll. Thanks for watching, and I hope I'll make your Christmas a little bit more...
Just tell us.
Thanks for...
Just tell us what you saw.
Fuck you, Santa!
And reverend and often the solution doesn't work in a certain expectations that they obviously